One thing actually, I'll say this. We're Facebook friends. And so a few months ago, I guess, I reposted something that you said on Facebook, which said something to the effect that we've all contributed to hip hop and no one person created hip hop.
Right.
And the reason I brought that up is because somebody went back in the archives and liked that post just today.
Okay.
And so it brought it back to the forefront.
All right.
So can you explain to me what you meant when you said that?
When you look at the climate in New York City, number one, no matter who you were, there were certain neighborhoods you were not going into unless you had permission from certain people. So you could not have been able to have been everywhere because you would have got stuck up or beat down. It's that simple, especially in the Bronx. So who's anyone to say that while you were doing one thing, you know, another person wasn't doing something in the parks on the other side of the Bronx? Right. Yeah. And that's just a reality of things that I learned from Afrika Bambaataa. Yeah. And then you have people like Cool DJ D that I learned about, who he told me, he was already doing park jams, and he was about to get a new sound system, and he sold his current sound system to Kool Herc. So I don't know if that was Kool Herc's first outdoor system.
Right.
You know, because he says he also got a system from his father, but I don't know if that's the one he was rocking in community centers. That's for greater minds than mine to figure out. I wasn't there, so I can't call it.
Yeah.
But so you have him, Grandmaster Flowers, and there were people that were more on the disco side. But you know, I mean, for someone to be the end all, and if you figure it wasn't even called hip hop until '82.
Right.
How can there was. For someone to say, oh, yo, hip-hop was this back then and it was meant to be this, that's impossible because there was no agenda. Right. Back then, it was like, yo, you write, yo, you DJ, yo, you rhyme, you MC, or you break. Yeah. And that's how you are identified by, by the community. Yeah. What was your element? And usually, people did 3 elements.
Right.
You know? So that's why when Afrika Bambaataa started calling it hip-hop and giving it, he applied the Zulu Nation principles to hip-hop and gave it a direction in '82. Because his whole thing was peace, unity, love, and having fun and all that stuff. And that whole movement he was trying to do with he's been doing with Zulu Nation. Right. And he applied those to hip-hop. Then it became, okay, what is hip-hop meant to be from that point on? Because, back then, I mean, if you went to the Fever, the Disco Fever, there's a few things you have to be prepared for. Number one, you might get stuck up on the way in. Number two, you're gonna bug out when you see how many people are getting high behind the rope behind the curtain inside the Fever. And number three, you had to worry about getting stuck up on the way out.
Right.
So, and that was the main hip-hop club at that time. Yeah. So for people to, kind of like fantasize and romanticize hip-hop as being a certain way from who created it to what the environment was, it's kind of crazy. You got to look at different perspectives.
Most people say Kool Herc invented hip-hop. Now, I know a lot of people have refuted that, I won't say any names because people have had personal conversations with me. But how do you feel about that?
I know trains were being bombed before Kool Herc was throwing jams.
Right.
Okay. Shit, we could take that back to Kilroy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And when it comes to the b-boy aspect of it, there are people that that danced before me. Yeah. And at the end of the day, when I got into this, there was no such thing as calling it hip hop.
Right.
Yeah. He inspired people like Afrika Bambaataa. And Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash, Tony Tone for the Cold Crush Brothers. All these people he inspired because of songs that he was playing. Right. That's on a musical tip.
Right.
Did he inspire people to be b-boys? I don't know. Did he play? Maybe when he played certain breaks, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know of him smoking people in ciphers.
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, if you're talking about rap, a lot of people that were rhyming were imitating Cap Calloway, Wolfman Jack, and all this other stuff. So the inspirations come from many places.
Definitely.
But when you apply Kool Herc and Bambaataa and the L Brothers and all that together and see what everyone was doing, I think it becomes a collective more than one particular person. But it's just that Kool Herc does get praise from a lot of people. You know, I asked Bambaataa if he was DJing back then. He said, yeah, I was DJing too.
Right.
But the difference was, Bam said he went to a Kool Herc jam. He said, oh, I got that.
Right.
I got that and more.
Right.
So he plays a certain role, and that role is very, very important. I would never play his role down. But, I mean, you have to look at everyone all around the Bronx and see what everyone was doing. I mean, if you even want to take it back to King Tim III, I don't even know when they came out. You know, they weren't part of hip hop, so I don't really consider them the first rap record within the culture.
Right.
But, you know, it's something that was also going on. You also had the Last Poets that were doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
Gil
Scott.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think everyone has to allow for perspective to exist.
Yeah.
And just keep in mind that when we, and I'm not even gonna say myself in that, because I came later, but when they all started, they were all young kids.
Yeah.
Without an agenda of becoming historians. So the things get lost along the timeline. And that's cool, man, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's all right, We'll get as close as possible, but I don't think anyone could walk out there and say, yo, this is me, I did this, I did that. But people have lived that story so long that they don't want to let go of it.
Right.
Even if they do find out information, I say, oh shit, wow.
Yeah.
Like me, I never knew about Kool DJ D.
Right, yeah.
Until last year.
Right.
A year before, I'm like, oh, wow, that's mind-blowing.